few questions here. Okay, in this part of the budget, we're discussing the children's psychiatric centers like Sagamore Psychiatric Center. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And under that program, we're going to be closing 14 beds.
14 beds. That's how much. At Sagamore, you're going to do 14, yes.
So we're going to go from 54 to 39.
Yes.
Okay. And what are we going to do with the children that are in there?
What are you doing? Well, there's no children in there now, four. In other words, you have this number is the short number. That's the number. When you take the number out, that's what you have there. Okay. So you're not removing the children, you're removing the empty beds.
Okay. Well, then
that was the next question.
My understanding is...
And community.
Yeah, my understanding is there's a waiting list right now.
And they're going to go to community alternatives, the programs outside where you put children in the smaller operations opposed to a big one.
Okay, and did we put aside money for these new community programs?
Well, they have $8.4 million in community investments for Suffolk County.
For Suffolk County?
Yeah.
And who's that money going to go through? Do we know?
For community-based investments.
Yeah, okay. But who is going to handle that? I mean, is this going to be transferred to the town? Is this going to be transferred to the county? Is it going to be transferred to private organizations?
Yeah. Well, they're going to have a plan. OMH will either do it or they will do it. If they do it, OMH will look at it. If they don't do it, meaning the agent, the county, they don't look at it, they will do it. But there'll be a plan before they move forward.
Well, let me ask you a question. Don't you think it would be a better idea to have a plan before we got rid of 14 beds?
Well, we do this now, and then we give them time to do it later. In other words, this will all function as we go forward. Because
okay.
if we don't do that, we'll just be staying open for another, not moving forward.
So do the 14 beds stay in place until they come up with a plan?
Yeah.
So we don't lose any beds until they come up with a plan?
Right.
So the beds stay in place?
Right.
Okay. All right. Now the medical assistance, the $24 million. This was the governor's backdoor Obamacare that that he put in administratively. We didn't pass legislatively, right?
Right.
And this is supposed to be self-funding, correct?
It is.
But we're paying $24 million.
We're putting $24 million in case there's a slowness in the amount of money coming in, but we anticipate the money will always be ahead. I sarcastically said earlier the story of Social Security, and I've been hearing all of my life it's going to fail. And every second day second Wednesday in the month, I run to make sure it isn't true.
Okay.
And every time I get there, the check's there.
All right, so what we're doing is you're saying we're putting $24 million in there just in case the healthcare exchange is not self-funding?
Okay. That's money that we got from the people that we leveled a tax on, who the insurance companies, we get a certain amount of money. The money we've gotten so far is $24 million. But we get that because that's how it becomes self-perpetuating. In other words, the insurance companies give us money when they do the new people coming in, and that money in turn becomes part of the money we use to continue the program.
Okay. I'm a little confused here.
So am
We
I.
have $24 million
Yes,
in the budget
yeah,
appropriated
you're right.
with this. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
we got money and we're now appropriating, because if we have money, we can't just spend it. So we've gotten money because of the way the program works. We're getting money, and that money we're now appropriating it.
So we're sweeping that money from money that was taken in?
Yeah, that's money we're supposed to get. So it's not a sweep like the thing we were talking about earlier. This is an ongoing program, just like Social Security. We put a certain amount of money into Social Security, and that goes into the program. This is money going into the program from the insurance companies.
Okay, so when we look at the numbers here, we have an income
Yeah.
coming into this program, specifically for this program, for $24 million?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So then, we're not taking $24 million out of tax revenue that we're generating? Is that
no,
what
we're
you're saying?
taking this from the people who join up. When they join up, they put a certain amount of money in. That amount of money becomes part of this 24.
And do we know if we actually took in the money that we anticipate to keep running this program so far?
We know. It's an estimate and it's an appropriation, and we believe it is the number we will
Okay.
get.
So what we're saying is we estimate that we're going to bring $24 million in to that fund that we're going to
Yes,
spend.
this year.
Okay? If we don't bring in, and that's all it's going to cost to run this fund?
No, that's what we're going to get.
That's what we're going
That's
to get.
what we're going to get.
And if we don't get that much, then it comes out of what fund? If, say, we only bring in $10 million,
Then that would mean we're getting less people, so we'll need less money. Because the money comes from the people who go in and pay.
yeah, but
So-
we're still paying the fund, right?
Yes,
To
that's
keep
what
the
I
fund
mean. They're
going.
paying money that goes into the fund.
And it's going to
So-
cost us $24 million for the fund, right?
Yeah, but we're basing it on the amount of people. And originally, everybody said anybody was going to do nothing. And right now, we've got a large amount of people who came in New York State into the program. Their money will come in. So when we say 24, the chances are we're very accurate. If not, we may be underspending, figuring as opposed to over. Because it's people, and we won't know until tonight how many more people will go in. You know, if you're listening to the radio, you hear it.
How much have we brought in year to date? Do you know?
How much do we know to this point? No, we don't have that information yet.
We don't.
We haven't gotten that information yet.
Okay, so we don't.
We
We
don't
haven't
know.
brought in 24 million.
No.
Okay. So, all right, let's try something
Because we
else.
get money from the federal government, but they don't break it up by what is which. In other words, it becomes part of the payment. We'll get a lump, and the lump will include that 24 million in it. Make it up.
Okay. Now, the information
One
technology.
second. I'm sorry. Yeah, it allows us to we can figure it out. Even though the things are hidden, many of these.
Go ahead.
No,
Listen.
even though the things are hidden that are done, we can figure out by the amount of numbers, the numbers we know, we can figure out, we think, what it's going to be and it's coming in. Because they have, because of the way the program works, we're going to get a lot of money, not a lot of money, other money. It's a lot of money, too. Other money we're going to get, and that money is going to meld in with the money that we're going to get from the people who are part of the program.
Okay.
And then we'll get our share of that. So at some point, and I don't know when that is, we get a lump sum, and in it we anticipate the 24 number we claim will be in.
Yeah, then I've done a town budget,
Yeah.
and how I do an estimate is I know how much money I've brought in year to date.
Right.
In order to estimate, and I'm looking per month what I'm bringing in, and I'm looking if it's slowing down,
Yeah.
and that's how I get the number of whether or not I'm going to meet my projection or not. Okay?
Did you ever have to deal with the federal government in that program?
I've dealt with the federal government
And
on
you
it.
know how they are.
Yes.
But it's their money, and they have a way of handling you. But the good news we've always come out is their numbers, as far as I'm concerned, has always been higher than we thought it was going to be when it comes to programs like these. So I'm hoping it will be that way again.
All right, let's go someplace. The information technology services part, 236.7 million. Now that's the database to track ammunition for the SAFE Act. Is that what that is?
That was 27, I think, in the last year. Last year, 27 million was appropriated to support the development of the database, and 7 million was expended to date, has been expended to date.
Oh, excuse me. It's 799.7 million.
700.
And who added the 236.7 million more than last year? Was that the governor, or was
So
that?
last year we appropriated 27.7, and and as of this time from last year's appropriation, we only spent, according to my numbers, 7 million. So actually, there's approximately $20.7 million appropriation still out there,
Okay.
which is good till September.
All right. Now, when we go to transportation, if you go to the general fund support to Thruway Authority, we have.
Do me a favor, hold on that for a minute, please.
Sure.
Okay. Also, just going back to the last one, that 27 was also caused by the fact that the governor has been putting together different agencies, and as they do that, it picks up additional money from the different agencies. So where there used to be one, which was the SAFE Act, it's part of a couple of other agencies now, and because of that, that money became $27 million. But the expenditure by SAFE Act has been $7 million.
Yeah. Well, this is 799.7 million.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's what do
We
have?
round out here.
Same as the governor, and we have $236.7 million. Okay, more than last year.
Right.
Right. And
From
it's a
state agencies.
Okay. Now moving down to transportation. The general fund support to the Thruway Authority, 24 million, same as the governor. Okay. Now, supposedly this funding is meant to fund some of the expenses of State Police Troop T.
Do me a favor, let me pull out my papers on that.
No problem.
Transportation. Start again on that for me.
Okay. Transportation portion.
Yeah.
The general fund support on the Thruway Authority.
Right.
There's $24 million, same as the governor and same as last year. And the funding is meant to fund some of the expenses of State Police Troop T. Now, normally that would be in the state troopers portion of the budget, but here we have a separate line here. For Troop T,
Yeah. The 24 is operation of the Thruway. So the